Stub, and so on and so forth, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
And Jacob Weil.
And welcome to the penultimate podcast for Rick and Morty, Season 6. We're talking Episode 9, A Rick and King Mortur's Mort. Such a stupid name. I don't know. I know they're all stupid, but...
So okay, guys. Some of them are better than others.
Yeah, for sure.
This one, definitely not one of the winners.
And I don't think this episode is a winner as far as episodes go either, guys. I think this, for me, I have no idea if y'all are on the same page or not. I think this episode, there's a couple pretty solid bits of character development between Morty and Rick. There's a couple solid bits of comedy here and there. I think my big problem with this episode is just the fact that it is very much... the concepts are kind of spread too thin. Like if it was just the Knights of the Sun and Morty kind of dealing with the Knights being overly loyal and not leaving him alone, I think that in itself would have made for a really solid, funny premise for an episode. I think when we, have the whole council of different planets and everything, that's where the episode just flat out loses me. And honestly, it never really gets it back after that. So I definitely was enjoying certain aspects of the first half of the episode, but by the end, I definitely walked away thinking this was the weakest of the season.
You know, I know this has nothing to do with this other show, but I'm going to bring it up just for the sake of this joke. This episode was basically the solar opposite of entertaining, if you ask me.
Ooh, that's harsh. All right.
It's like. This episode, but quite frankly, I found actually kind of boring in a lot of aspects. Kind of like how Rick predicted it would be.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Jacob. I'm kind of with you.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I like the concept. The idea of Knights of Helios, a society on these different planets and on the sun. That's a very interesting and potentially funny idea. It's just that they don't mind it for the potential comedic or even dramatic worth.
Yeah.
Basically, but it's like basically the entire end of the episode is like, hey, you have to cut off your dick.
Because that's the level of humor that we're going with this season, apparently.
Like Dragon?
Yeah, so I thought this episode had good bits in it, but it for sure it dragged, for a while with the whole Game of Thrones bloodshed kind of montage and just kind of the stuff. I think our setups are really good on this, and I think we had some good jokes here and there, but ultimately, it's not a lot of substance. And with Tiki's opening point there, it does kind of beg the question. Tiki, the episode you laid out sounds like something they would have done far earlier, but I think it's now they've kind of painted and written themselves into a corner where
it frustrates me because the show is constantly being like, the season 1 adventures. What the fuck does that even mean? And it's like, I just laid out what it means, like just having a premise that you just stick to without going in all these weird side tangents.
Well, now it just feels like they've painted themselves into a corner where it's like, hey, we can't just go for the standard straightforward story that we once could. Now we have to blow it up essentially. We have to go kind of take the left turn whether we like it or not.
What would have been interesting is how early on they dismissed the whole scepter being part of the center of the universe, center of the sun.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been interesting if there was some kind of subversion, oh shit, it really does control the gravity of the solar system.
Yeah.
I honestly think they could, or at least if they would have used that a bit more and even probably dug their heels into the whole condemnation of their particular religion, would have made a far more interesting episode.
I mean, I even think that they could have, just based on the character designs and the voices and everything, I think they could have mined some, Monty Python and the Holy Grail type humor. That's at first where I thought they were kind of going with it, kind of like the medieval spoof kind of vibe. But I don't know. Everything about this episode just very much... I want to make this clear. This episode is not good. It's probably the weakest of the season. It's nowhere near as bad as the episode from last season. All right? Can we all agree to that?
Wait, was last season the episode? Or
I believe last season was the episode. Yes.
You mean the baby episode, right?
Should I mention the name Rick Dependence Spray?
Yes,
That one?
yes, exactly. That one.
Are
That
you
one.
sure that was
Yeah.
last season, not 2 seasons ago, or was that last season?
Let me double check.
Because I'm saying they called back that joke last season, which makes me question whether or not
Oh
they.
Yeah.
no, you're right. I think it
Yeah.
might have been season 4. I think
The
you're
only
right.
reason I'm
It was-
pausing.
Yeah, it was season 5, episode 4 to be specific.
Oh, it was season 5.
Oh,
They probably
Yeah,
called
but
it back in the second half of the season.
well,
right?
there you go. That's what that is. Then. Okay.
Because yep, I'm taking all the thumbnails I made. Yep, episode 4.
So yeah, like this episode definitely the weakest of season 6, but it's far and away, at least in my opinion, still better than that. At least.
Yeah.
I mean, at least at least this one isn't like terrible by any means. It's just boring.
I hear you. I hear you.
I mean, like I said, I like. I mean, again, creative concept, has some funny jokes, but other than that, it just kind of feels like it. It kind of feels like one of the one of the ending tags that carried on for the whole episode.
Oh God, it does kind of feel like that, doesn't it?
It's like this would have been like a hilarious ending tag,
Uh-huh.
but nope.
So let me talk about my favorite part of the episode in regards to the character development, which is the stuff with Rick. Kind of coming to terms with how Morty now feels about him. And of course, I did point this out last episode where, Morty very quick to just straight up rat Rick out, and it's very much not like Rick and Morty 100 years anymore. Those 100 years have ceased. And so I do think this was, if anything else, if I'm trying to gain any sort of context from it, which again, I'm looking like a giant tool trying to gain any sort of context from Rick and Morty, but I will try, damn it. I will try. I do think this might be just kind of like a stepping stone episode just to kind of like, check in on the current dynamic of Rick and Morty's relationship. Rick kind of coming to terms and seeing how he can possibly, get Morty's respect back. Like, to me, it all does fit in line with Rick's arc throughout the season. And that is, like, pretty much the only thing, like, of major value that I think this episode has going on.
I mean, like it does have some interesting development of Rick and like realizing that he's been kind of a jackass to Morty, but it just I don't really know. It's just like
it's very boring, Jacob. You're not wrong. I honestly think this is going to be one of those episodes where we're just going to struggle to squeeze a half hour's worth of conversation. If we need to end this at 20 minutes, we can. Because you're not wrong. It is just there's just not a lot there. Like I don't know, even up to the like the opening gag, I don't even really think was that funny, just because I just kind of like think they just kept repeating themselves with whole like the other people coming in like, hey man, I'll take the sword if you're not gonna take it. Like,
I mean, admittedly, the whole it's like yeah, you just pays us to wait in line to drive a business. Knew it. Like I said, admittedly, I have heard that some businesses do actually do that, and that actually is pretty funny.
Yeah. I mean, with the opening, I do love kind of the it's not curb enthusiasm, not exactly the right turn of phrase, but I do love just kind of the monotony of just this calling out the whole like, well, we're asking follow-up questions to the sword, which we never do.
Yeah.
So that to me was hysterical. It's the fact of, well, I'm not just gonna take a random sword without asking.
And of course, he does take the sword, and it is like the worst possible outcome. The dude just stabs himself instantly.
Mm-hmm.
So that to me was like. That was like the best comedic bit of the episode, and it was literally all downhill from there.
Yeah. Also, so I love that with our bizarre deal breaker tradition. I love how fast it came in the episode. I love it takes that's the left turn I was really impressed with. Like, okay, he's gonna be a knight for an episode. It's like, nope, not gonna be a knight because he had a bizarre.
He's gonna be the
Thrones
king, baby.
Oh, sure.
Morty is literally the king of the sun. Let's just soak that in for a minute, continuity wise.
Thanks to Blade.
God.
Yep.
The Blade sword was hysterical though. So that's what I'm saying. Honestly, the episode to a point I think that's all real. It's working good in the momentum, but then honestly, just once we have, for me, the whole episode crash and burns, no pun intended, when when we have kind of our interplanetary little
Yeah,
war
the
for the scepter.
interplanetary people are. Jacob, do you agree? They just kind of kill the episode because I was kind of with this episode to a certain extent. Like, I wasn't with the episode as far as like really like I wasn't on board saying it was one of the best of the season. But I was like kind of like going along, like, all right, this is funny. I'm wondering where it's going. And then the interplanetary council stuff happens. I'm like, what is this? What are we doing? This is they're just shoving way too much in.
I mean, the main issue is that they introduce all these people and then they start being killed off almost immediately. I mean, and the show's done that before, and it's usually fun. And the problem is, it's usually done in a much funnier way.
Yeah,
I do love the outrage
or even in a more dramatic way, like this episode, just like, yep, they started killing each other.
I love the Marquis of Mars and his irateness of the whole.
That was the one funny bit, I think.
I mean, if you think about it, though, it does make sense that the people of Mars would be like, be like warlords.
He is just like genuine sense of being offended that whoever that voice actor was pulled into that was.
Just love like it's like that. They captured that real life thing. It's so hysterical. People they're so angry they turn like Kevin Smith described Bruce Willis at one time during the Too Fat for 40 special. It's the whole he gets so upset with you, he turns away and then he comes back at you, but then you flinch.
Right.
It's like, and it makes sense that the people of Mars would be, kind of like warlords, or like, asking for war considering who they're named after.
Oh yeah, it's true.
The Roman god of war.
Then we have non-Santa Claus with the Earl of Earth.
Oh yeah, right.
He's like, Santa, who the hell's that?
Oh my god. So, it's like little nuggets of clever chuckles here and there throughout the episode.
I mean, honestly, the direction I wanted the episode to take that it didn't, because it went full like Game of Thrones. Oh, they're gonna kill each other. I was thinking that.
Which honestly, we've already gotten in other episodes and done better, and this just felt like a retread.
I just wanted Morty to kind of destroy the whole theological kind of idea there. So just like this Morty's kind of diffusing the whole like all of their civilization's religious beliefs. That's what I was kind of hoping was going to happen.
Oh, yeah, I could see that.
That would have been a much funnier episode.
I mean, I gotta tell you guys, like, I've seen this episode like 3 times, which is like 2 times too many. But each time I watched it, like this episode, it almost has like a non-ending for me. Like I can't even tell you. I don't know. Like it just has no building momentum. The story just kind of fizzles out.
But again, to kind of harken back to something you're kind of circling around earlier, Tiki, 22% more supportive Rick I think is the best idea of the episode.
Sure.
I mean, the idea of the therapy, he actually is trying to improve himself and has had an effect on him. And
the thing is, you can't tell when I'm being mean, you idiot.
Right.
Which I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah, and again, I just love the idea of a more helpful Rick, which, I mean, honestly, I've always been kind of like, I really like it when Rick just says, I actually not fully, like, like transformatively, like, all helpful, but I do like when he's, like, a little more helpful. He has, like, kind of those little redeeming moments. I like that we kind of, maybe for an episode, maybe we'll see where it goes. Just, maybe we'll stick around for a bit.
I mean, to say anything, at least the character development is sticking. That's the important thing.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of which... Jerry Watch 2022. Does he even really do anything in the episode?
Well, he had like one line. I don't really know if we need to do the whole bit necessarily.
We have to do the bit, even if he doesn't have any lines, Dragon. It is the bit. It must be done.
Hey, Dragon, your bit, my bit is Mr. Nimbus. He controls the police. Yours is part of the Jerry Watch.
Right.
It's like the weekend update.
Well, I mean, oddly enough, we kind of flipped roles here. The episode's not doing great. Jerry, he's okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
He's like,
I didn't break anything this time. That's always.
I mean, the line was like, something's breaking, and I didn't even touch it.
Yeah, there you go. So that's about it, and it's on the money. It's what Jerry does. He called it out. I think we can move on.
All right.
I mean, if you think about Dragon,
I also like that Space Beth is just kind of casually there again. I really like that Space Beth is becoming a more and more casual pop-in.
Even though in this episode, we're like, yep, remember her? She exists.
But no, I do like that we keep, like, I think they're keeping her in the show enough to have those moments where it's like, yeah, she does indeed exist.
I wonder if she still does the whole thing with Beth and Jerry.
Well, I mean, she is there, and we don't see what happens just behind closed doors. So I don't know.
Oh God.
I mean, it's the fact that she's around, and well, if they're, I don't know. Anyway,
And she is a lot more affectionate towards Jerry these days too. So,
yeah, I guess, yeah.
all right,
I
Jerry
guess
Watch 2022 having hot threesome sex with his 2 wives. Yeah,
who happened to be the same person.
that's your Jerry Watch.
why couldn't Jerry call in sick?
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm sorry.
so let's see. So of course, we have to fix the problem in which we can't universe hop, which I love that we're kind of calling out. Can't we just hop universes again? Buddy, I think we're gonna have to stick this one out.
Mm-hmm.
But Morty, of course, he's in a position where he's essentially the fix thing. Yeah.
Like one of my favorite lines, like, I knew we shouldn't give the Amish those nukes.
Yep.
It's like, what would the Amish do with nuclear weapons anyway?
Nothing good. Nothing good.
Apparently.
Yeah, you see, the Amish have been so depraved for so long. It's just the fact of, oh God, we have the power now. We've never had this before.
Now that's I could see the Weird Al's Amish character from Amish Paradise kind of having a moment like that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We have the power now.
We've been satiating ourselves with Weird Al, but now it's that time.
Well, then again, remember in the song, the guy's proud to be like that. Proud to be like that, though. He wouldn't.
He is proud to be like that, but still,
here's what you do.
It's there is some there is some building tension. I don't know.
Okay, you want the best end of the world situation?
Oh God.
Okay. Ending of the Weird Al biopic happens.
Yes.
We take out Weird Al, beloved icon in the Amish community. And that's the last straw for them. They secretly there's been a secret silo of nukes there. They've never been tempted to use because everything's been going great and swimmingly for the Amish. So it's like, okay, Rebecca's dead. But
Weird Al dies, and
that's the last straw. It's like that's the end times. They killed our Messiah. We're gonna. We gave them everything. We stayed out of the way. We stayed out of it all. We didn't want to. No political tipping point. Like, no, we have stuff. You have stuff. Like, no one knew we had anything. We had a very simple request: just keep Weird Al amongst us and entertaining us. And he was taken from us by some foreign power of some kind or some superpower of some kind. And we've had it, so we're going to take him off the board, and it's going to lead to the end of the world. So that's the thing. Weird Al, apparently, most important string in this cosmic tapestry.
In all honesty, the Amish having nukes would be like a plot straight out of this series, honestly.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it would be.
And they just,
God damn it, Morty! Don't you know that the fucking Amish have all the nukes?
And here's what they do. You reveal the silo by them pulling down the sides of the silo, deconstructing the barn.
Yes.
To reveal nukes. Yeah. Anyway.
That would have been a better episode than this.
Yep.
A lot of episodes would have been a better episode than this.
I mean, maybe I don't know. Maybe we're missing something. I don't know what anybody else's on the internet's opinion is.
Like Mr. Nimbus Goes to Vegas. There's a better episode.
Oh my God! No, inherently, that is absolutely a better episode. I would watch the hell out of that episode.
I mean, as evidenced by last week's episode,
the police, Dragon.
Mr. Poopy Butthole in Granite State.
Like, as evidenced by last week's episode, Mr. Nimbus automatically improves anything he's in.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah.
After all, he does, as Tiki said, he does control the police.
Okay, just a whole episode of Mr. Nimbus controlling the Vegas police force.
Yeah, there you go. They have like a CSI opening.
Yeah, exactly.
Mr. Nimbus's wild ride.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. So again, plot wise, our episode here, of course, we can't universe hop, so the only solution, oddly,
they can, they just choose not to.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, yes, they can, but they choose not to. Morty, so the weirdest element of this episode, of course, is Morty's going to have to say goodbye to his boyhood.
Dragon, the weird thing is, it's like the Jerry having sex with his mom thing, except not done nearly as well.
Well, I mean, it's more reminiscent of with Jerry. It's more reminiscent of the, well, not to the same degree. Either way, I never cared for this example I'm citing, but it's just the fact, Jerry, it's saving that alien. Yeah, I think it was the interdimensional cable episode. I'm not sure. It was the episode.
Interdimensional Cable 2.
Yeah, where Jerry essentially has to, he could donate his manhood to save like an alien prime minister or something, like an alien delegate of some variety, and so it's kind of like a whole like for the greater good and such. So, but obviously, it's much more stupid. Like, well, we're only doing this purely only because on the stained glass one. That's the only reason we're doing this.
Okay, I do like the moment where Rick does kind of come and he sees the stained glass window and he's like, "Oh, buddy. Oh, you got yourself in too deep, didn't you? It's okay."
I mean, it is kind of interesting that even these people even kind of managed to outsmart Rick inadvertently in a way.
Yeah, that was really funny. It was the fact they did have like all these various scanners. Like, oh God, come on, really? Like, they can get past the one hologram one, and it's like, nope, not the DNA nanotech one. Like, nope.
Yeah,
and then of course the telekinesis, just like, run, Morty, run.
The telekinesis, I just feel Morty was maybe a little too stupid in that scene. Like, he just said, "Don't say anything." What are you going to do? Say something.
Well, I mean,
I do love the whole I do love the whole like take the scissors. And he thinks he's going to work him through like this unbelievable procedure. It's like just run. But you could have just shouted. Let's see the. Oh yes, so I do love how supportive Rick was in the moments. Again, 22% more supportive, and you'll feel it. You'll notice.
You do recognize it. Yeah, he's not lying when he says that.
I love him, like, Morty just completely overwhelmed and very vulnerable in the bathroom, just like, I don't want to do this. And just, you want me to help you not have to do that, buddy? He says, yes. And that was
he is being more supportive. Like I said, there is the character development sticking.
Then 3 fake fail dong solutions later. They're
BoJack Horseman tongue twister dragon. Well done.
They're jumping in. Then they're jumping into a little throwback. They're jumping into a throwback, kids. And by throwback, I mean we're jumping into the Vat of Acid episode, only in this case, Vat of Molten Sun Lava.
Which they actually did reference in this episode.
I know, which was great. It was a great setup.
Like, is this Vat of Acid again?
Yep.
Yeah.
I wish they could have referenced the fact that they won an Emmy. Like, yeah, Morty, it won us an Emmy, so of course we're going to do Vat of Acid again.
Wait, really? Vat of Acid got like a primetime Emmy?
Yeah, that was the one that won the Emmy, yeah.
Actually, I think this show's won 2 Emmy Awards for Outstanding Program.
Huh. Okay.
The other one being Pickle Rick.
That tracks. Okay. So, I do love this game.
Yeah. Nothing.
I do love them admiring their handiwork and just like calling out like how bad an idea that is. Of like, look, well, we had to be sure, Morty. Like, did we though? And of course, get caught instantly. And like it kind of brings up like, well, if you can rat us out, but you're going to be losing.
Right.
I forget that. Jacob, do you know who Daniel Radcliffe was in this episode? Was he that kid at the end, or is he someone else? Is he one of the knights?
Honestly, I have no idea. I thought he was like one of the knights.
All right,
I could be mistaken since they don't actually list who voices who.
We do know. I believe it's the leader of I think Venus. That guy, that person, that is Jack Black.
Yeah. Very recognizable. Like, it's one of those voices where it's like, as soon as I heard it, I was like, that voice sounds familiar, but I can't quite place it. And
Jack Black.
That makes me excited for the Mario movie, because of course we're all kind of excited about the limited amount we've heard from him so far. It does not seem to be just baseline like, look at me, I'm Jack Black,
Yeah, Jackie boy is doing a good job.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm also makes me more excited for Kung Fu Panda 4.
Yeah.
And also, well, I also heard Morty from Marsh's voice. I recognize his voice sooner than I recognize Jack Black's.
Yep. Anyway, so let's talk about the important part of the episode.
Yeah.
Honestly, the only part that really mattered at the end of the day. The NYPD Blue reference in the in the post credit tag. Let's talk about the Dennis Franz.
I didn't even really get it, honestly.
Even if you didn't get it, was it random and funny too at
It
all?
was random and funny. It was very disconnected from the rest of the episode.
I mean, other than the fact that's what Rick ordered at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah. So I love this thing. So I just love the random pull of, man, we're really leaning heavy into all the people we could have used for a cop character. We went with Dennis Franz from NYPD Blue. We went with, and Nolan North doing a flawless Dennis Franz, by the way, as Andy Sipkowitz.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so the idea it's like these living hot dog creatures that Rick was spoiling his appetite with. Apparently, it's like a human traffic. It's a hot dog trafficking ring.
God.
And we played it very realistically. And then, of course, we had a little gag there at the end. I was expecting something to, kind of take off, like some bird or something, take off. And then, of course, it takes off. I jinxed it!
Except he's the one that gets taken away by the giant bird.
Precisely. Well, also, should we mention heroin at all?
Oh yeah, like the night after basically immediately going along with what Morty said when he disproves their scepter makes the sun the center of the universe, the center of the galaxy. Or man, I'm messing up my terminology here. The center of the solar system, rather.
Mm-hmm.
Like basically they go off, and then later when Morty finds them, it's like they get addicted to heroin.
Yeah,
they can't OD because like the living on the sun hardened their veins or something.
Yeah. Essentially, they were, they can have like a density sort of thing or whatever. And the point being, they can become comfy heroin addicts.
Again, the thing is, like, it's like they're talking about like all the different euphemisms for, or just basically, I'm guessing almost made up euphemisms for heroin. It's like,
no, I think they're actually real euphemisms, Jacob. I just can't remember all of them that they were said.
Well, I mean, I don't doubt that, but Morty's Rick's like talking about heroin. Morty, he's like, "I get it, Rick," and he's like, "Really?" he's like, "Really? You understood that?"
Yep.
Which again was pretty funny and an interesting concept. Like, heck, even that could have been an interesting concept on itself. Like these failed knives, just like probably wanting to just getting high all the time.
No, again, I really do think that just the Knights being pathetic and following Morty around and Morty wanting to get rid of them and not knowing how to, that was your episode right there, honestly.
I mean, sure.
You got to admit, though, Tiki, that yeah, go on.
As I was saying before you started talking, Dragon, that episode, that plot has been done a lot of times in other episodes before, but even then, they still could have done like their usual Rick and Morty twist on it.
Yeah, I mean, you got to admit that episode, as kind of early on, Rick and Morty as it sounds, might have run out of steam after a while, though. It might have just like,
It could have.
I think that's ultimately maybe another reason they didn't go with that specifically, but it definitely feels like an Act 1 sort of thing. Act 1's like, and there's follow them around, then something happens.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Like I said, but even then, like even a story that's been done before is better than a story that's not entertaining to see.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I mean, I guess maybe we're missing something. Maybe this wasn't our episode, right? Because I don't know what anybody else's opinion is, but I just didn't think this episode was very interesting. Like, it's not offensively bad or even terrible. Just, I guess definitely the weakest of this season so far.
Yeah, I think the three of us can kind of universally agree on that, right?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's kind of rare for us to have like the exact same sentiment on a single episode.
That is rare. You're right.
Yeah.
I don't think that's it. I don't think this has happened since
the episode.
Yeah.
Since the episode.
Never will anyone think of the name Naruto again without shuddering a little at first.
Oh my god.
It's like this series is a strange way. Like on all the really good episodes, like people like are split on which ones like in different ways. But like the ones that are universally considered bad, everyone's like, yeah, those are pretty bad.
Yeah. Will Naruto be like Galactus when he grows up? Like, how's that work?
No idea, and I don't really care.
All right.
Okay, thanks for joining us, everyone. Have a good night, y'all. We'll be back next week for the finale. Yeah.
Stump thy stem.